I'm Justin Gradin from Pig Freeze. My show's on the first 3 Mondays of every month at 7 p.m. Today I'm here at No Fun Radio to talk with our special guest who's playing tonight at the Rickshaw Theater. So please welcome with your ear holes, Zola Jesus. We gotta use that.
Should I stay here?
Oh yeah, I'll come over here.
Okay, this is the spot.
How are you? How's tour been so far?
It's been good. It's been good. It's been fun.
You were in Portland last night.
Yeah.
So you're on tour. You're co-headlining with Alice Glass,
Yeah.
who is formerly of Crystal Castles. Mm-hmm. How did that idea for this? Was it Blood Snow tour?
Snowblood.
Snowblood.
You're so close.
Almost.
It's the inverse. Yeah, so we were just mutual fans and we connected and we both were going to go on tour around this time of year, and so we thought it'd be really cool to do a co-headline and just kind of like, really support each other, and yeah, and it kind of just naturally came about.
So when you co-headline, that means you guys play exactly at the same time?
Exactly. Yeah.
That must be a real treat.
Actually, yeah. No.
So you guys just switch back and forth?
No, we don't.
No?
She headlines every night.
Oh, she headlines every night?
Yeah.
Okay, I was wondering how that works.
Yeah.
So you're touring your last record, Okovi? Is that how you say that? Mm-hmm. And you have a new record of remixes from that album and B-sides. Just wondering if you can explain what Okovi means and why you chose that as the title.
Yeah, so when I was writing the record, I was going through a really hard time, and the songs were, of course, reflecting that, as you can hear, probably. But then when it was time to put the record out and thinking about what to call it, I was racking my brain, and then I just thought of the idea of shackles, and then I, thought of the word Okovi, which is shackles in many Slavic languages. And there's so many different layers of why I called it that, but I felt like in the end we're all like shackled in one way or another to something. Like we're all chained to something either to life or to death or to duty or to debt in a way. And then I liked using the Slavic word because it means the same thing in so many different countries that are at odds with each other.
Right.
That I felt like that was empowering to just show you that, to demonstrate that everyone has this in common, this suffering, regardless of your political alignments or anything.
Right. The album, I think, that description of it kind of reflects in the sound of the record. It sounds, it's really heavily textured, and a lot of the songs seem very epic, and but at times also, very minimal. And I noticed that a lot of musical styles are used on the record. Mm-hmm. And it made me, when I listened to the record, I actually wondered what kind of music you listen to.
What I listen to?
Yeah, like when you're just driving your car or sitting at home. Okay,
well, lately it's been pretty basic. Lately it's been extremely basic.
That's better, actually.
Because I'm actually I've been going through a period even darker than the period I was in before. I need music to almost keep me awake, keep me up. So I've been listening to 21 Savage and Cardi B and a lot of Toronto hip hop stuff, yeah, stuff like that. But when I was making Okovi, I was listening to a lot of black metal and a lot of noise and industrial and Eastern European folk music and harpsichord music like Scarlatti and opera.
It's funny how Cardi B just transcends everything.
I tried so hard.
I tried
so hard.
Everybody loves her.
Yeah.
Actually, not speaking of Cardi B, but talking about the album, the cover, I'm just going to grab it. Mm-hmm. There's also, I saw this, because the cover of this record, I saw digitally first when I got sent the press. I thought you were wearing some kind of weird helmet.
Yeah. I look like a duck.
Yeah, it's like a weird tar-covered duck.
Yeah.
What was the concept, or is there an idea? Were you working closely with the artist who made this, or?
Yeah. So I wanted Jesse Draxler to make the album art because I was really inspired by his art when writing the album. I like printed out some of his like collages and put them on my wall, and like a total nerd. And then when I met him, I found out he was also from Wisconsin, and we connected like instantly. And so I asked him to do it. And the concept is sort of like, I wanted the face to feel chaotic and obscured and kind of like an abyss. And then the eyes were the anchor, because there's something really powerful about how eyes are like this this thread inward, and sometimes it's hard to lie. You know what I mean? It's hard to like get anything past the eyes. So and they show the most suffering. So I thought that would be really kind of like fitting with the content. So he came up with a bunch of ideas of trying to interpret the idea of chaos or abyss, in that context. And this is my favorite.
Do you do that with a lot of records? Like, is that important to you to have visual sort of stimulation when you're writing a song?
Yeah, definitely. More than music itself, I'm inspired kind of by interpretation, like interpreting other mediums. So usually like film or architecture or something. Yeah.
What is sort of the writing process like for you? Because you do everything yourself, right?
Yeah.
Do you need? I mean, obviously you like to have visuals, but do you need certain settings, or do you feel like you need to be in a certain mood to write a song?
Yeah, I need to feel open, which is hard because I'm really self-critical, and so it's hard for me sometimes to let go. I need to be alone as possible. It's hard to write in a city. It's hard to write around people. And yeah, I've never been the kind that can like write a song when someone else is in the room or with someone else's help, like something that I need to do by myself.
What about when you're like making a record, and you're recording it and you're in the engineer room and like they turn up, like they'll be like, hey, let's turn all the drums off and everything. And then it's just like you just singing like these words really loud and you're like,
Or they're like, or sometimes I'll do a bunch of vocal takes and then we'll have to listen to them and decide which one's the best, and no reverb, totally dry. And I'm just like, no.
Yeah.
Don't listen to me like that.
Yeah. Well, writing alone, how do you tell when something is good enough to keep going? Like, how do you proceed, or how do you edit yourself? Because just being alone in that type of situation, it's like, it seems like it'd be sort of scary to present stuff that way.
Yeah. Usually I need someone to tell me that it's good, because I'm just like assuming everything's garbage. And so I do need feedback from people, because it is hard to write in a vacuum like that. But usually there are some times, rare times, when I'm like, I feel like I've hit something, and there were a lot of songs on this record when I wrote them. I didn't need that feedback. And that was really kind of rare for me. So you just it's like this intuition, like, is this song serving me, and could I see it serving other people, but really, is it serving me? That's the big question.
That's sort of like where you go to first, is that you make music for yourself first, and then if it kind of feels good, feels right for you.
Yeah.
That, like, the songs on the record, I thought sounded really very personal and very emotional, and also really like ethereal and sort of massive and dramatic in this way. And I guess I wonder how important that is to create that feeling of sort of this emotion and this.
Yeah, you mean like the interpretation of the feeling?
Yeah, like you hear the record and it's very like, it's a very emotive record. I just wonder how important that is, or if that's important at all, to try to capture that kind of feeling.
Yeah. I mean, my music, that's all it is, that's all that I have is feeling, So, so it's just like the most important thing to me is making sure that feeling is translated and communicated and almost like relinquished in a way. Yeah.
So what made you want to follow up, like add to Okovi with a remix album and with the B-sides? Because the record, for the people who haven't heard the record, starts with 4, I guess they're B-side songs. But what made you want to include that and put a remix out instead of, say, just doing like a 7-inch of these new songs?
No one listens to 7 inches anymore.
I love 7 inches.
Unless you're into like hardcore or whatever, you know what I mean?
I love them.
But unless you're like, it's like a Siege 7-inch or something. But like, no one will listen to a Zola Jesus 7-inch. No, well, actually, I just like at some point I just realized that I had all these songs, like remixes and B-sides, and I really wanted those songs that I'd written that didn't make it to Okovi. I really wanted them to be heard, so they had to come out somehow. And then 4 songs on a record, it's kind of light. And then I already had all these remixes too, so I needed to do something with them because they needed to be heard because they were awesome, very good.
Right. Well, yeah, the songs, they don't actually sound like B-sides, really.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't think so anyway.
They weren't written as such, so
yeah. With the songs being so personal and so much like a part of you, doing a remix album, how hard is it to put, these songs in someone else's hands?
Hard, yeah. And that's why I only had been remixed by people that I loved and trusted, and so that's I knew that they could almost do a better job than I could do at some point.
It's kind of like putting a gun in a baby's mouth, a little bit. It could go really wrong.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was
like
where's he going with
this? It's your baby.
Yeah.
It's like you're handing your baby off to someone.
I like that. I like where you're going with this. It's pretty fucking dark.
Yeah.
But yeah, totally. Yeah.
It's
scary.
It's this precious thing that could just really.
Totally.
And what happens if it goes wrong? You give like
a
song to someone you respect, and then it comes back. And
yeah.
They're like, we made a ska remix.
I don't know that.
I don't think anyone would do that.
I don't think that I think the chances of that happening are low.
They're probably pretty low, yeah. So you've recently gone from Mute Records back to Captured Tracks.
No.
Sacred Bones.
Are you trolling me?
Sacred Bones.
Oh my God.
I don't know why I said Captured Tracks.
Oh my God, Mike would love that.
Sacred Bones. And also you've moved from the Northwest back to the Midwest.
Yeah.
How has that affected you at all, if anything?
Yeah, no, it's all affected me. Moving back home was kind of like this attempt to ground myself and put down, like, just find roots and put them down because I would have been floating forever had I not done that. And same with Sacred Bones. I had felt like with Mute, I wanted to try something, like Sacred Bones has always been there. It's kind of like it's my parents.
Yeah, it's like your home.
Yeah, it's my home. And so I kind of wanted to go like backpack through Europe, and then I'm like, oh, actually, like my home is awesome.
Right.
Like it's really special that I have that family. And so it's just where I belong. I belong with them. They're my best friends. They're closest people in my life. So why wouldn't I want to work with them? And it's the same thing. It's like the same muscle of me moving back home, like literally, physically.
Yeah. Same thing. Just want to go somewhere. Go into the woods and eat some cheese.
Eat some cheese.
Eat some cheese
eat a lot
in the
of
woods.
Cheese curds.
So I've heard you describe your relationship with music as cynical and nihilistic, and masochistic, and you've also talked about having depression and going through that. Mm-hmm. I wonder how important, or if those things contribute in any way to writing a record, struggling with all of that.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's really hard. It's really hard because it's like, making cynical lyrics, that's one thing. But it's it's like when you're cynical about the writing of the lyrics. You're cynical about making the music. You're cynical about, it's like the nihilism is like deep, so it like prevents me sometimes from being productive.
Right.
And that's something that I've had to struggle with a lot.
Okay. I think you said while you were in Seattle, you were so depressed you couldn't leave the house or do anything productive. If you were just gonna quit music, what would you do? What do you think you'd do if you weren't making music?
Man, I've thought about this a lot, and it's hard to think about. I don't know because I can't hold down a normal job. I'm not employable. I've been fired from every job I've ever had. So,
what was the last job you had?
I worked at an art gallery and I was fired. Yeah. I was fired from a coffee shop. I was fired from retail. I just can't, I can't work for other people. It just doesn't, it's not in my bones. So I'd have to do something where I could somehow just survive.
Job in isolation.
Yeah.
One of those people who protects like a oil field with a shotgun or something.
Yeah.
Like way up north.
No, yeah, I know exactly what I would do. I would be at McMurdo Station in Antarctica.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to do that. Yeah. I would do some menial job, but I'd be in Antarctica, and I feel like I would be in isolation
And
there.
At Christmas time, you get in your hot air balloon and you fly back to Wisconsin.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, that's my dream.
I wondered how much Dateline you watch. Do you watch Dateline?
I don't watch as much Dateline as I watch Forensic Files.
Oh, you're forensic.
I'm a Forensic Files girl.
I was going to ask that too because there's so many now.
Yeah, no, it's definitely Forensic Files for me.
The narrator of Forensic Files is
so good.
He's so good. His voice is incredible.
He is.
The problem with, anyways.
Yeah.
So
I could talk about that for a long time. You gonna skip over that? That's like
Forensic Files. Yeah,
I've been waiting like years for this question.
There's so many different ways you can go with it. I mean,
I've thought about covering the theme song
of Forensic Files.
Yeah.
You should. Is it still on TV?
No, I don't think it is.
Because I think it just runs on channels as like 24-hour loops, and you just like watch all of them, and then it just starts again, and you forget, and you watch them all.
And then you're like in this K-hole.
Yeah, and then every time you leave your house, you think someone's going to murder you.
Because hey, are you reading my mind?
Yeah, because all you've done is
my
fill
life.
it with different murder, and then you go like, oh, this person could do this.
I've already thought about how you guys could take advantage of me right now.
There was,
I mean, look where I am. I'm in this tiny little alcove in a really sort of like precarious area of Vancouver.
It's true. It is being filmed, though.
It's being filmed. That's the only thing. That's the only reason I'm still here.
It's the only thing that's saving it. Yeah. No, Forensic Files is a good one.
It's great.
There was one about a doctor who would like put a false vein in his arm. Have you seen that one?
A false vein?
He put a fake vein in his arm and was like doing these blood tests. He was like it's insane.
Whoa.
It is actually insane. If you look up Forensic Files, fake vein, doctor, fake vein.
I don't even understand.
It's mind blowing. It's a mind blowing
clinical
story.
level how that could be a.
And I think the guy was from South Africa. I think he got away with doing all this horrible stuff because he took off, and then he couldn't no one could.
I'm gonna look that up immediately.
Yeah,
it
was really good. I love Forensic Files, but I was thinking for some reason I listened to the record and I thought, I think this girl listens to a lot of, or watches a lot of Dateline.
I've watched Dateline. I just love true crime. I'm a true crime person, so yeah.
Dateline's good. Keith Morrison, he's the one. Josh Mankiewicz, he's the worst.
No good.
He's always got one eyebrow raised. He's looking at everyone like,
come on, dude.
He's a condescending fucker.
Yeah. No good.
Okay, well, lastly, I just wanted to ask you about the significance of the name Zola Jesus.
Oh, what an original.
And what it means. Well, I was thinking about it, and I'm like, what does that mean?
All right. So, exactly. When I was...
Do people think it's your name? Do people say like, hey, Zola?
People call me Zola, which is, fine. Let them,
Or does anyone call you Zee-Jay?
Zeeg. Usually when internally it's referred to as Zeeg or Zee-Jay.
Okay.
Saying Zola Jesus is just like a big mouthful, so it's the Zeeg. Or Zola J.
Zola J.
Zola J.
It is like
Sorry, I'm like
Cardi B.
really like breaking the mystique right now, aren't I? I don't care.
It's like when Mortiz said in that interview that he loved his mom. And it was like, that wasn't evil. No. You can't love your mom.
Yeah,
You're like a troll, man.
That's the whole thing, though. It's like just shattering everyone's expectations. There's something beautiful about that.
When you see the black metal guys and they're drinking a can of Coke and they're in like a Prius.
Oh.
You're like,
but it makes them even more mysterious.
It does, because you would expect them to like ride a horse with a sword to the show.
And you're like, when's it going to end, buddy? Take the mask off.
Yeah, take it off, dude. Get in your Prius.
Yeah.
It's okay. You're 40 years old.
Yeah, you deserve that Prius.
Yeah, you earned it. You know?
Don't be ashamed of it. Anyway, wait. So when I was when I was 13 or 14, I was in a bookstore. I found a book by Emile Zola, and I didn't know who it was. It was in French. I bought it, and I was like, oh, cool. It was Nana, the book Nana. And then for some reason, I just decided to come up with this name Zola Jesus, and I was like, that's my new name. I was into like making different names for myself.
Was one of them Emile Satan?
One of them was Emile Satan. How did you know that?
The old switcheroo.
Dude, that's crazy. So no, it wasn't. But yeah, so Zola Jesus, and then I was a freshman in high school, and I introduced myself as Zola Jesus and said, "Can you guys call me?" I know.
So
yeah.
it goes back far.
It goes back far, yeah. And then when I made music, I was like, I've got this old Zola Jesus name lying around, so here you go.
There it is.
Now here we are, Zola Jesus, and people think I make Christian music.
Do people think that sometimes?
Yeah, and sometimes I just let them think that because it's easier than having to explain.
You should get on like a Christian rock. Like they do huge tours, and people are like the most willing to throw their money away.
Yeah, I know. I just events. The whole like now having to like convince people that I'm not an atheist. That would be I feel like that would be a bigger uphill battle.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for coming by the station.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
And you are playing tonight again at the Rickshaw Theater. What time does that start at? 7 or 8?
Something like that. I play at like 8:55, 8:45, something like.
Somewhere in there.
In the late 8s.
Get there before 8 o'clock is what she's saying here.
Yeah, thank you.
So yeah, that was our special guest, Zeeg.
The Zeeg.
The Zeeg tonight at the Rickshaw Theater with Alice Glass, and I guess we're gonna play out with a song off of I think the remix album. I think it might be the first track.
Did you guys hear the Vancouver remix? The Rita remixed?
The Rita remixed one of your songs?
Yeah.
But not on that record.
Yeah, well, the limited edition comes with a cassette tape. That has
with the Rita? Mm-hmm. He's an old buddy of mine.
Really?
I wish I knew that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're from the same town. He used to run a skateboard shop, and
that's awesome.
And he did a movie night at the local university, and every single week it was me and my 2 punk friends, and Sam.
Yeah.
And it was that was it. We're the only, and he played these
awesome.
German films of corpses like rotting with the time lapse, And there's just us every Wednesday. I was a teenager. My mind was just like rotting.
That's perfect.
Yeah, and he was talking about skateboarding and black metal and all this stuff, and Baku, all that stuff. He's a true champion. I'm glad that you got the read on there.
I know. I was gonna say I should play that, but
I don't think we have the deluxe version.
Yeah,
I didn't see. I mean,
I don't even know if it's on the. We made it kind of this like
it's kind of
Easter
secret.
egg.
Yeah.
Which we shouldn't because it's really good because it's Sarita and I love him.
Yeah, the stuff that got sent out to us, there was no mention of that, but
well, look it out, Vancouverites.
Yeah, that's right.
Vancouverites.
We're in Vancouver.
Vancouveronians.
Vancouveronians. Vancouveroni. It's like pepperoni.
Vancouveroni.
All right, well, we're here in the Vancouver with the Zeeg, and we're going to play Vacant? Yeah. All right. So, yeah, thanks for listening to No Fun Radio, and go see the Zeeg tonight.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.